Welcome to Minneapolis by Night. This is a vampire side scene for our wonderful Cardinal Dante. He's been invited to visit with Friar Armentini of the Friars of St. Francis, as well as Deacon Slate, also known as Armor of God, a deacon responsible for the Lady of Lloyd's Church in Minneapolis. He joins them this evening at a small whitewashed Baptist church in the woods. It appears to be run down and if not fully abandoned, at least semi-abandoned, not real actively used. It's probably later in the evening, but not too late by the time you get there, I'd say, assuming you head directly there.
Mm-hmm. Pulling up, he's going to pull up, park the Pope Mobile, as we so reverently call it, and lock it. Not knowing what to expect, he's probably going to load his weapon, which is probably going to be useless anyways, but it's still that peace of mind, kind of like a child with a flashlight in the middle of the night with the monsters. And he will probably load it into his shoulder holster and walk in. He is probably in not his full regalia because it does not require that. This situation is one where he is probably dressed down in his everyday clothes as a cardinal.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough. Inside, roll me a perception alertness.
Park alert. Park alert. Park alert. Diff 6 standard.
Standard, yep.
Okay. Uno.
You do see Deacon Slate at the front altar, and he appears to be engaged in some sort of prayer there. From a stairwell leading down, you hear a steady thunking, like the chopping of firewood as well. When he sees you, he gestures you up and kind of motions towards the stairs.
Can I get an intelligence survival on that? Oh, yeah, I can, but it's at a higher diff. So yeah, can I get intelligence survival on that?
To
academics to determine what the chopping sound is?
Sure.
Okay. Academics or survival, which one you want?
Whichever's higher you can use.
Awesome. That makes me a happy camper. Intelligence academics. One, two, three. Three successes. Assuming it's standard.
Yep, and it is definitely the sound of wood being chopped by presumably by an axe.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I will follow. I have no reason to distrust Armor. He has been chill with me, so.
And he greets you and he says, Cardinal, I fear I may have been a bit short last time we spoke. I unfortunately, in my many lives and past histories, I have not had entirely positive dealings with the kindred, especially those who pursue the faith. Many of them do so under false pretense, and I fear that has jaded me. So I owe you an apology for that.
He'll smile and he'll offer a hand. And he'll nod and look at he'll look at Deacon Slate. And that being said, fuck. That's what I forgot to buy. Downtime. Shit. Okay. That's fine.
If you still have the XP for it, you're welcome
to. First out of nobility is what?
3.
3. What about a secondary?
I don't know if it's different offhand. I think they're technically the same now, but books over here.
Because there's something I meant to get that I.
Or if you want to rework something, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rework something.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine. Or just even if you don't do it on your sheet right now, just
yeah. First
it.
out of a secondary is how many XP?
That's what I'm checking for you right now.
Because I totally forgot to buy my workaround on empathy because I'm on a path which is psychology. So I took down that second dot of that thing that we had talked about to buy the first dot of psychology because I need it.
Psychology is a science special or a science subcategory.
Right, but there's also a secondary ability called psychology, which allows for people on paths to basically get around. It's a workaround for empathy, because being on a path, I cannot have empathy.
Looks like for the books I've got, it's the same price. Secondaries are the same price.
Okay, so 3 XP.
Yep, and then additional dots are 2 per dot.
Gotcha.
Or 2 per times. Prior. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Cool. So then I will buy that second dot that I had to take away later. Probably at next downtime, assuming I live that long. That being said, though, 3 successes on perception psychology. Emotionally, where is he standing?
Well, he kind of came around the altar to greet you and offered you his hand. And then with his other hand, he kind of gestured towards the stairway.
Okay. So he's pretty sincere. Like, he's being sincere. He's not hiding secretly. I'm going to,
No, he seems genuine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Dante will smile at that and will take the hand, he'll shake it, and he'll look him in the eyes. I've got to be honest with you. I have a plan, but I don't know how well it's going to go over because it's for the betterment of the flock, but it's taboo, to say the least. The orphanage. I have women there and children there. What I want to do is start building an army to start hunting down those that would poison the city. And by training an army, I mean training them in the ways of the society. Specifically referring to Leopold.
He's going to chuckle at that. And very casually, he opens or he holds out one hand. Actually, kind of pulls up one sleeve so you can see his forearm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a number of brands on his forearm.
Okay.
One of which you would recognize as a symbol for the Society of Leopold.
Oh, geez. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's gonna look at that and then look at him kind of weirdly and just be like, I was more so asking for your thoughts and your advice on that.
He says, well, there's advantages to that, although the society can be narrow-minded sometimes.
My thoughts behind it were most of our people won't touch children. And who better to hunt down those of the undead that would poison a city than children? Because children see and hear everything, whether we want them to or not.
Well, of course, the concern there is what about the ones that will hunt children? Because you may have already heard what happened at the orphanage, the kids under Mercy's care.
And that is what he stops to look down to the side, almost as if he's thinking about choosing his words very wisely before he speaks. That is another reason that I wanted to get your advice on this plan, because I don't want that to happen again.
Because I'm not entirely sure what happened, because Mercy was present that evening, but she was unharmed and didn't detect anything.
I'm unaware as well, and that is troublesome.
He says, well, unfortunately, Mercy has only had occasion to be taught the ways of the society briefly. And certainly none of the other methods that I'm familiar with. Are you familiar with many of the Catholic saints?
I'm going to go ahead and roll academics, because as a clergyman, you are taught that in catechism, and as a cardinal, he should know them. I'm going to roll intelligence academics.
Enough.
Yeah, it is that. Okay, sweet. Standard diff. 5 successes. He will start listing them off in alphabetical order from the date of oh god, the term when they become
when they're actually recognized.
When they're, yeah,
I forget what the appropriate term is.
Yeah, but he would have said it, and he would list the date. He would list that 5 successes. I'm going to say he would list the date, he would list their name, and he would list what they were actually the saint of.
He wouldn't get far into the list alphabetically before he stopped. And he holds up a hand and he says, actually, when you stop at Saint Agathias, he says, I remember being scourged and beheaded in Byzantium. That was my first life.
Why have you not gone for your canonization again, if I might be so bold as to ask? By the way, canonized is the proper word.
Yeah,
it dawned on me.
My role here is different. I have been recognized as, by those who need to know, as a warrior of the church. I have been given authority, and they have acknowledged that I have default leadership of a division of hunters that I had formed in my 4th lifetime, roughly the the late 900s.
I see.
It is easier for me to remain unseen and unnoticed. Over the course of these lifetimes, I've encountered many of the kindred, the children of Cain, whatever choice you wish, word, phrase, term, title you wish to use, many of which were within my church. And of those who were within my church, none of them truly sought faith or redemption. None of them truly wished to know God. They wished to simply use his name as another tool. Save one. With that, he kind of leads you down the stairs.
Okay.
And downstairs you would see Armentini is actually looks like he's been working on with a number of tools, and it looks like at some point Armor of God probably was assisting. But there's a rough-hewn wooden cross laying there.
Okay.
And then in the back of the room, it's kind of shadowy, but you can roll a perception alertness if you wish.
Give me 1 second. I believe I'm 5 dice on that. Let me double check. Yep. 2 successes.
You would immediately be able to see that there is a pool of some sort of dark liquid back there.
Okay, it's not blood, is it?
You can't tell from here.
I was asking for sense of smell.
It does have kind of an iron smell that it definitely could be.
Okay.
And Armor gestures to Armentini, and he says, "I have tried 6 times over the course of my lifetimes to help a child of Cain to find faith and redemption. Armentini is the only one who truly sought it. 5 other times this ritual has failed. A ritual I discovered in my second lifetime, buried in a sea, or in a cave rather, near the Red Sea."
Dante raises his eye at that, or his eyebrow at that. With the scrolls.
In the area. Although I admit, having not read the scrolls much, I don't know that it's entirely likely to be the same author.
I see.
The ritual I found was written in Enochian as well.
Well, for what it's worth, and he'll look at Slate, because Slate is the one addressing him, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. For what it's worth, my want for divinity is without question. The Grail itself, I know the location of. It is in good hands. It is in the hands of the man who has raised me. So, it is safe. It is secure.
With that, Armentini stands up and turns, and he says, "Simple relics aren't the most relevant thing to faith." And he holds out one hand, and what looks like a sword, actually quite similar to the Ventru sword that you've seen in the past. However, it looks to be made out of shaped sunlight, and he says, "Faith runs far deeper than any single relic."
Faith runs down to the very spiritual existence of our being. Faith defines us as individuals. John, by the way, question for you real quick. Um, did the transfer paperwork to transfer to Western Orthodoxy come through yet?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
that's fine.
Cool. It's minor things, but it's things that would matter in matters of faith.
Right.
So
Yeah. As Armentini walks closer to you, I need a willpower roll, diff 7.
okay. Can I spend a willpower on this?
Let's actually make a courage roll first, and you can spend a willpower on it.
Okay.
We better make a
courage roll, diff what, 7?
yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spend that.
Good move.
Okay.
As he approaches, there's actually a sense of holiness radiating from him, stronger than a typical true faith. Even you've seen Armor's faith before, and this is a stronger feeling of holiness than what Armor gives off.
Gotcha.
Armor looks at you and he says, "You see, Cardinal, the problem is, as a man is baptized in holy water to wash away the sins of his fathers, so too can a kindred who truly seeks faith be baptized. But simple holy water is not sufficient for the sins of your forefathers.
The sins of my forefathers must be washed away, because the sins of Cain are far greater than sins of Adam."
He gestures and he says, "And thus the only way to truly wash them away is to leach them in the blood of the sinners." And he gestures to the pool behind him.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And he says, "As I said, this I've done 6 times. Of them, only one returned pure of faith. The other 5 accepted those sins upon themselves and returned as monsters."
I see.
He gestures to the cross, and he says, "The path to God through the night is often far more bloody than any want to admit it. I can lead you down this path, but you must choose for yourself."
William will nod and look at Armentini.
Armentini looks at you and he looks down at the cross and he says, "I lay upon a cross just like that. I handed the stakes and the nails to this man myself. And I have called him friend through many lifetimes since then."
William will nod. And He will look to Slate and go, the path is unclear. However, I trust your judgment and your guidance. And I have faith that the Father will see me through.
He says the path is always unclear when one walks in shadows.
So, out of character, let's do this. What is he telling me to do at this point? Because I'm rather confused as a player. Like, does he want me to go bathe in the pool, or
he gestures for you to and Armentini kind of leads you to the cross and indicates that you should actually lay upon it.
Okay.
You can see there's a number of large nails there as well.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Because if he knows what he knows, his beast is freaking the fuck out. So it's not a botch. So yeah, he's gonna do it. Make it a thing.
Okay. And Armentini actually does nail you, in fact, to the cross.
Okay.
And subsequently, Armor actually is able to lift the cross, basically on like a glowing wind is what it looks like.
Dear God, what is that guy's strength?
No, not by hand. You can tell he's using magic.
Gotcha.
And you can kind of see behind Armor as he's doing this image. I realize it's a little fuzzy, but you get the gist of it.
Yes. Okay, cool.
And as the cross floats over the pool, this sort of angelic figure puts his hand on Armor's shoulder, and Armor asks you if you have prepared yourself.
We'll take in a breath. He will, in a very serious tone, say, "My body and soul are ready."
Okay, and as Armor closes his eyes, he draws his hand across the blade of his sword and adds his blood to the pool, and the cross falls into the pool. As it sinks, and the blood kind of closes over your first over your ears and then over your eyes. As soon as it closes over your ears, you hear a voice.
Okay.
And it's kind of a dark voice, real deep. Has a little bit of a dark chuckle. And it says, after so many years, he tries yet again. I do not know if it is faith or foolish hope that leads this man back to me time after time.
Can I get an intelligence Children of Smith lore? Because Children of Smith lore also encompasses some stuff from this La Sombra, to determine if this is a not an umbral spirit, but a spirit from the Black Pit.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Make sure my intelligence, I've got it right. Okay. Yep, that is correct. What is the diff on this?
We can go with a diff 7.
Okay. 3 successes.
It is not.
Okay then. Well, cool. Yeah,
And
I'm
eventually, you see a man sitting in a chair. Ultimately, not even really a true throne or anything, but just a very ornate, easy chair.
okay.
And he, as he looks at you, he says, "I suppose we should start with your name. Who are you that has come to visit me?"
Um Intelligence academics to determine if this is some sort of demon or Lucifer himself.
Sure.
Okay, cool. I doubt it, but I'm thinking, what would this character be thinking? And it would be a matter of, oh God, am I facing down Lucifer himself? Um, Fuck, no. That's nope. That's just a fail. Cool. He will give his birth name of William Halstead.
And what name does the man who sent you take this time?
Uh, Deacon Slate and Friar Armentini.
I remember Armentini. Perhaps the one of the most honest men I've ever dealt with. Although I may count it unfortunate that he succeeded, for it has given this Slate as he goes by in this life some false hope. I do not believe there is another Armentini, another kindred who truly seeks redemption.
Then
And
you
yet,
would be mistaken.
he arches an eyebrow and he says, "And do you understand who I am and where exactly you sit?"
I do not. But who you are and where I sit are irrelevant. God guides my path, and through him all things are possible.
Yes, all things are possible. The all-knowing and almighty, correct?
He is both Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
And the great secret, the one none can bear to know, the one he will not even admit himself, that even he can make a mistake.
He is infallible.
Now with that, he clenches a fist, and you see shadows kind of twist around him.
Cool, cool. Do me a favor. What page is Shadow Play on? Do you know?
Offhand, I do not, but I can tell you rather quickly because I have a bookmarked copy of the book.
Awesome.
Would be Obtenebration, 188.
One moment, please.
Actual book number 196 on a PDF. So.
Awesome. Thank you. 196. My book is opening to that page.
Not a problem. I will tell you if you're going to use it here, it will be an increased difficulty.
My book, because I actually paid for it, is actually 196, is page 196.
Yeah, so that's why it's specified.
You said 180 what?
188.
Ah.
If you actually have a bought PDF, so.
So spending a blood point,
Okay.
less for an entire scene, requires no active concentration. The extra dice on stealth dice pools don't matter in this case. Ranged attacks, however, might.
Requires no roll. Okay.
Opponent's plagued by flapping shadow. I'm not doing that. Basically, I'm activating it so that if something should happen, I can use those shadows that are around him to basically form some sort of shadow shield, if at all possible.
Okay.
So yeah.
I will tell you that even with that, it does seem that these shadows are perhaps harder to work with than
Okay.
you're used to.
Oh, okay. John, I've got something I'm gonna ask you in text, but that way we can keep going on the scene. But I'll ask you in the chat bar.
Okay. Uh, he looks at you and he says, "Forgive me my frustration. I have spent countless ages here simply because of a misunderstanding."
And who, pray tell, are you?
To answer that, you must first understand, or acknowledge at least, earlier information. Are you familiar with the true name and meaning of the great betrayer and deceiver? The great dragon that was cast down.
He will immediately speak in Enochian and say, Lucifer, because Lucifer in uh, Latin means light bringer.
And he grabs both arms of his chair and kind of leans forward. You know, it's a real, almost wicked grin, and he says, "Yes." And thus did I oppose him at every angle.
Oh
But,
God, John, this conversation is going to get really philosophical really quick, and it's going to be amazing.
but it did not matter what my actions were, because there was no place in heaven for he who opposes the light. And thus, when the light bringer was thrown down, so too was I. Caged here, no loyal servant to the one that fell, and yet unwelcome in the place I called home.
Dante will raise an eyebrow. Azazel?
He throws back his head and chuckles. And he says, "That's not the worst guess I've heard."
Well, if you are not truly the Lightbringer, Azazel was the one cast out to be abandoned for eternity.
Yes. But among the hordes, caught up, believed to be simply another lieutenant, I was dragged here as well. The one who does not love the light. And he kind of chuckles and he says, the only one who can find a left-hand path to God. And as he leans back,
can I get another intelligence academics on this guy at this point?
absolutely.
Okay, because he's giving me a lot of information that could lead me to who he is. And fuck. Nope. Apparently the dice gods just say you're just supposed to deal with the dude and not know who he is. So, okay, cool.
There is no easy way, but I can offer a way. He holds out his hand, casually holds out you realize he's got basically a clawed gauntlet on the other hand. and he cuts his wrist, and he says, "Drink and know you can find peace."
Peace comes in many forms. What is the price of this drink?
Depends if you truly seek faith. For those that do, maybe it would be more fair to say for the one who has an opportunity at redemption to work God's will, to stand in the darkness as part of it, and yet still be an agent of faith. For those who do not, it is to embrace the darkness, to give in to sin.
Perception psychology, one success. Is
Okay?
this guy lying to me? If I drink from him, and is it condemning me? That's what I'm really trying to figure out.
He has told you honestly, it is based on you.
Okay.
That
So
it
basically,
can condemn you, but it doesn't. It also doesn't have to.
okay. So this guy drinking from this whatever the hell this guy is, or whoever the hell this guy is, is the path to redemption and true faith.
Correct.
I'm just verifying the information before I even make a decision because I am on the precipice. I am at the best point a person can be. Okay, yeah. If that is the path of redemption, then I'm gonna go ahead and drink. Because that's honestly what he wants.
Okay. And roll me your path rating. So you have, I don't know what you have in your path. 7, 8,
5.
5. Okay.
If it's a 7 diff, I have. If it's 6 or higher, I have 3 successes.
Okay. Uh, as you drink, he stands up. He turns. Black wings unfold behind him, and he, as he turns and walks away, he says, "You stand yet in the middle. You have not fallen, but nor have you been redeemed. You stand on a precipice. Whether you can regain what has been lost and find your redemption will now be up to you." And as he fades into the shadows, and to you it feels like you're coming back, basically coming back up for a breath of air from a pool, he says, "Welcome, one who is once a son of Smith. Welcome to the Celestials. Welcome to the path of redemption through me, Mephistopheles."
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Fun. Fun.
And
Fun. Fun.
you feel yourself being lifted up again. As you open your eyes, you're back in the basement of the church, and you see, as you're being guided back, Armentini is standing there, and he seems ready, but Armor also has a sword drawn, and you hear Armentini actually just whispering a prayer. His eyes actually flash with what you can immediately tell is sunlight. And he holds up a hand and he says, "Wait, Armor. He has returned to us. And yes, he is not yet one of one like me, but nor has he truly fallen. He is in fact Bali, but he stands on the edge. Whether he works the light's will in the darkness remains to be seen, but the opportunity is still before him." And as Armentine starts, basically as the cross settles,
Okay, there we go.
it stands upright, and Armentini starts to pull the nails out of your hands and out of your feet. And he steps back, and he looks you right in the eye. And he says, "I do see a desire for faith in you. But you had bound your hopes to one who could not take you as far as you needed to go. Those holds have been shattered. You have placed a portion of your soul into the one who loves not the light, recognizing that to love not the light is to also hate the betrayer. For the light bringer is also the betrayer and the deceiver. And to love him not is to work God's will. You desire faith. Indeed, you have a shard of it. But true faith in God requires that you remember we are children of God first and King second. You have lost what it is to be human, and now it is in your hands to find it again."
He'll nod at this.
And as she steps back, he actually signs the cross in front of you. And you're, even though he's not actively trying, you kind of flinch a little bit naturally. Or for you, unnaturally, but it's a little bit off-putting to you for some reason. And Armor looks at you and he says, "Maybe you have within you what it takes to become." And then he nods towards Armentini and he says, "Another ray of hope in the night. That I don't know. What I do know is I'll be watching. Because if you are working God's will, you will have my support."
He'll nod at this. I appreciate it.
But harm the flock. Give in to the darkness. Accept the sins of those who died to cleanse you, and you will join them. And with that, he steps back and kind of just motions to the stairs up, and he says, "I look forward to working with you, Cardinal.
And not you.
If you need refuge, this church will remain. I own it, and I have ensured that it is protected as a historical site. It is one of the few that is sanctified without being suffused with the faith that right now could drive you mad."
I see.
And with that, they'll kind of start cleaning up, and he actually does something that seems to open the pool, and it drains.
Okay. Yeah, he'll make his way up if he's excused at this point. Really just confusion. Like at this point.
All right. I need. Let me. Let me see. Go ahead and roll me. You use conscience or self-control?
I
with
use
your path?
conviction.
Conviction. That's
Conviction, self-control.
roll me your conviction.
Okay. Yeah, Path of Righteous Knight is one of those weird paths that uses conviction in combination with self-control rather than conscience, conscience self-control or conviction instinct. Standard diff, one success.
Yes. One success.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First thing you notice is that obvious you feel a sense of some sort of connection to that angel, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, I'm trying to determine if I now serve a demon lord or what the hell. But
Well, that's as best you can tell. He seems to be kind of outcast from heaven and hell.
okay.
However, something else seems strange, and you can't quite put your finger on it right now.
Okay.
But Armentini does actually hand you, and it's pretty worn, but it what looks like an old leather-bound Bible, and
Okay.
you can tell that the pages have been folded and they're beat up. But even within it, you can tell he's also made notes and stuff. And he says, "In times of doubt, this has given me hope. Perhaps it can do the same for you."
He'll nod and he'll take it. I appreciate it. Oh, coughing fits. They're fun. So yeah, he will smile. He will take it. And he will say thank you. And he will, unless there's anything else, he's going to go back to church, or back to the church, and find out what the frack is going on.
Okay. So basically, some prayer and meditation.
Yeah, lots of prayer, lots of meditation, lots of checking on stuff.
All right. Well, I think that should wrap up the scene itself then. And we can do some off-scene discussion, and anything else should be able to take place in Blue Book. Unless you have anything specific that you need.
No, because everything else requires Marcella. So.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. This has been another Minneapolis by Night vampire. I almost did it again. Vampire venue side scene for Padre. And we look forward to seeing you all again.